So for this card we're going to use the perfectly matched butterflies. Now if you look at these, you can see from the picture on the pack that one side is the cutting edge and the other isn't. So if you place them down, you can see that this is the cutting edge and this is the piece that will stay inside the card. And the same with this. This is the cutting edge and this is the piece that will keep it in the card. Now although there are two dies in the pack, and you can use them both together if you wish. So on this one I've just turned it into a card with some acetate, but you can use them separately, and it's using them separately that I'm going to show you today. So to start with, I have a 5x7 card. Now if you keep the fold on the side or on the top, it doesn't really matter, you can decide later. But for now we're just going to use one of these dies and we're going to add it to our card. So I think we'll use the larger one. Now if you remember, I said this is the cutting edge and the other one isn't. So we're going to place the cutting edge on the card and we're going to keep these points level at the bottom. Now we're going to die cut this through the machine, and you will need the larger size machine. So once you've done that, carefully remove your die and all the extra little bits, and now you need to trim it down these side pieces. So we'll bring in the trimmer and we'll place this along the bottom so that it's straight, and so that that line is just on that cutting edge. And now we're just going to die cut up to that piece there, and then we can turn it over and do the same on this side. So we'll keep it straight, we'll have this just on the cutting line and we'll trim that off. There we go. And now we've got our piece of card. Let's move this out the way. So now we've got our piece of card now ready to decorate. So this is now where you have choices. You can either stand it that way or you can stand it tenfold. Now another thing is, if you don't have a large die cutting machine, then take a piece of 5x7 but leave a hinge on the side of it and pop this onto your die, onto your card. So this is the same die that I've used there, and now we're going to put this through the machine. So now once you've die cut this through the smaller machine, you can take out all the little pieces that shouldn't be in there, and you can trim this down exactly the same as you did the other piece. Now once you've trimmed this down, you can add it to another piece and glue that in place. So let's just do that. And once we've trimmed that piece down, that will be another perfect card. So we'll just trim this piece off, and there we have another card that's the perfect size. So as I said, you can use it in tenfold or you can stand it in portrait. But either way, now we're going to decorate these cards. And this is another one that I did in white. So now we have 3 different cards that we're going to decorate in 3 different ways. Now I've got a beautiful piece of, it's like foiled acetate, and I'm going to add this to this card. Now I'm going to add it to the front of the design. and that will be one card. For this one, I've created a lilac base, and I'm going to stick that to the back of the card. And for this one, I have a white base, and again I'm going to stick this to the front of the card. Now for this one, I've also cut the other die in lilac, and I'm going to trim this down, and I'm going to add this with a thin strip of tape along there so that it lifts it up from the front of that card. So with some small foam pads, I've cut them down to be even smaller, and I've attached them in specific areas on the card front, and that will just keep that raised up a little bit from the background once it's attached to the main card. So we'll take all the backings off, and once it's attached we can then trim it down to size. So we'll just add this to the card along there. We'll press all that in place, and then from the back we can trim off the surplus. Now, should any of your foam pads be showing through the back and you think they may stick the card together, just take a little bit of talcum powder and run it over, and that will take the stick out of the foam pads and stop it from sticking your card. But let's get these decorated up a little bit more. So for the fronts of these cards, I'm going to put some ribbon around the inside of this one and tie it in a bow. And for this one, I'm going to use the stamp set, and I'm taking this vine and I'm going to add it along this side of the card. So in my bit box, I've found some pearly bling, which I've added to all the body lines. I've stamped and added the Perfect Sentiments die and stamp set. So this has been stamped and die cut, but these others have just been stamped. So there you have 3 different styles from the one die set, and of course you can always add it as another style, as I've done with this one. I've used the Perfect Sentiments die and stamp set and the little vine from the Perfect Frames.